Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana bhavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vitvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 68 to 72 of chapter 2. Tasmadhyasya mahabaho,
Tasmadhyasya mahabaho,
Nigrihitani sarvashah,
Nigrihitani sarvashah,
Indriyani indriyarthebhyah,
Indriyani indriyarthebhyah,
Tasya prajna pratisthita,
Tasya prajna pratisthita,
Ya nisha sarvabhutanam,
Ya nisha sarvabhutanam,
Tasyam jagarti sanyami,
Tasyam jagarti sanyami,
Yasyam jagrati bhutani,
Yasyam jagrati bhutani,
Sa nisha pashyato muneः,
Sa nisha pashyato muneः,
Apuryamānamachala pratishtham,
Apuryamānamachala pratishtham,
Samudramāpah pravishanti yadvat,
Samudramāpah pravishanti yadvat,
Tadvat kāmayam pravishanti sarve,
Tadvat kāmayam pravishanti sarve,
Sashantimāpnoti na kāmakāmi,
Sashantimāpnoti na kāmakāmi,
Vihāya kāmānyas sarvān,
Vihāya kāmānyas sarvān,
Pumāmscharati nisprihah,
Pumāmscharati nisprihah,
Nirmamo nirahankarah,
निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः
सशान्तिमधिगच्छति
सशान्तिमधिगच्छति
एषा ब्राह्मी स्थितिः पार्थ
एषा ब्राह्मी स्थितिः पार्थ
नैनां प्राप्य विमुह्यति
नैनां प्राप्य विमुह्यति
स्थित्वा स्यामन्तकालेऽपि
स्थित्वा स्यामन्तकालेऽपि
ब्रह्मनिर्वाणमृच्छति
ब्रह्मनिर्वाणमृच्छति
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So in the last session, we were seeing how this principle of Nirahankara is related with the kama, that is your desires. So when we talk of kama, that is desire, that is in your mind. So how does the ego, the ahankar, influence the behavior or the functioning of your mind? See, this is something which is a very important, I would say, aspect of your sadhana. See, when we talk of swadhyaya, that is self-study, now you require tools, you require some help to study yourself. To just close your eyes and go into deep meditation and gain or discover the entire wisdom which is there within you, even though theoretically it is possible, practically you will find it very, very difficult. In the good old days, that is the pre-Vedic times, the capacity to meditate, to penetrate was very high. So they were able to just close their eyes and get connected with the infinite, and they derived the entire wisdom from within. As time went by, that meditative, penetrative capacity started reducing. That is what they call as yuga parivartana, means the change of yugas, the change of time. So when the meditative and penetrative capacity reduced a bit, they gave more help. The masters started giving more help to the students by giving them some mantras, live mantras, to help them do the swadhyaya, to help them meditate better. Now, as the capacity further reduced, they gave a little more of this wisdom, little more help, the Upanishads. The Mahavakyas, the aphorism, just single statements which can trigger the complete process of the swadhyaya from within. So, to the extent the capacity reduced, to that extent external help was given. But as the times kept changing, the yuga parivartana happened. It is also mentioned in the scriptures that when the yuga changes, the very capacity to meditate will reduce. So originally it was Satya Yuga, now it is Kali Yuga. So the capacity to meditate will be much lesser. So that is why more help is required. What is this help which a master gives? See, the whole process is happening inside. So you have to help yourself. In one of the verses later on, Krishna himself mentions that Uddare Tatmanatmanam. Let a person lift himself by himself. That is the very basic principle of spirituality. But then that depends on the capacity to do swadhyaya, the capacity to penetrate, the capacity to meditate. So when that is not there, the help can be given. In what way? Since it is happening internally, since the whole process is happening internally, what a guru does is, he provides certain material. It may be in the form of mantras, it may be in the form of some knowledge, it may be in the form of even the Yoga Sankirtana is a material which has been given. So different kinds of material the master creates and gives, which have the power to trigger this internal process. The master cannot come and do the swadhyaya for the student. Swadhyaya means self-study. But the master can trigger that process. So it is like a computer. Your personality can be equated to a computer. Now, the computer needs to be switched on. Once the system has been made in a perfect way. Now, the spark, the electricity spark has to be given, it has to be switched on. Once it is switched on, it will function in a perfect way, like an automatic machine, So the process and all is perfect within you, but the triggering factor is what is the key thing here. Once it is triggered, thereafter the natural process of internal sadhana will start taking place, and at each level it will build more energy, and then the master triggers a further deeper process of meditation within the student. The student receives that. So at every level this keeps happening. So God has created a beautiful system within you, like a supercomputer. But unfortunately, the power, the electricity is missing. So a master using the yogic approach goes on triggering. And when the triggering happens, then the internal process, internal sadhana process will take place, and that internal sadhana will expand your consciousness and take you to the next level. And in the next level, again the master starts this triggering process. Sometimes the student may get confused, because at one point of time the master will say one thing, and at another point of time the master will say something else, which may look contradictory to the previous statement. But actually there is no contradiction. It's a question of level, depending upon the context, the situation, the level, the various materials are provided. So that is why they say that surrender to the higher is so important, Because the moment the doubt starts coming in the mind, oh, this was said earlier, now the practice is being changed. So then that causes a lot of turmoil within. It doesn't allow you to settle and go deep into meditation, the swadhyaya process. So in this particular verse, this is what is being done, the triggering. How does the ego influence the behavior of the mind? Now, when you first gain the information from outside, with a lot of enthusiasm, you say, oh, this is so wonderful and all that. But without your knowledge, what is being triggered is the process of self-introspection. So when you keep attending these sessions, automatically what will happen is, whenever you get some spare time or when you're doing some mechanical work and all that, this process of contemplation will suddenly start within yourself, the awareness. Oh, we are talking of asuric, rakshasic and daivika ego. So when some negative quality, for example, manifests in your mind, immediately you will start relating it to this wisdom. Oh, this is what was said, about the mind, about the ego, and that process is happening. So when your awareness increases thus, what will happen is you will be in a better position to apply this wisdom. Each and every one of you would have experienced this already. Whatever you're gaining every Sunday, it is so priceless. Why do we say it is priceless? Because these are all triggering factors. Depending upon the various experiences which you face in life, this wisdom will go on triggering the process of self introspection or self meditation within you, reflection, the process of reflection within you. A person has sent a very nice mail. He has been a sadhak for many years now, and he has shared his experience where he says, there's a particular situation which used to irritate him. A situation means a particular person. Whenever that person used to do something, it used to irritate him. Not now, for many years now. And that was going on. But he said after attending these sessions, that is especially when the analysis was made about the three types of ego. Now, what happened last week was the same situation. That person behaved in that particular way. And before his mind could react negatively, he said these words came to him. This is the asuric ego. Now, the moment these words came, he said his awareness increased and automatically his mind calmed down. Because he started reflecting, see, that person is behaving in that way. Now, why should I lose my shanti, my peace of mind because of that? Why should I react negatively? The whole process of this swadhyaya, the self-study, the self-introspection got triggered automatically. This is a very, very positive sign, I'm sure all the other sadhaks will also be experiencing this. So every bit of wisdom which is being given, you will not know the value of all that right now. As you go about your life, when you face the various challenges, that is when you will know, you will understand, you will realize the value of this wisdom. So if you sincerely apply yourself in receiving this wisdom with the energy, now all these may remain dormant today, but they will trigger the process of self-purification, the process of becoming peaceful from within as you face the various challenges of life. Many a times, even before a challenge surfaces, this wisdom would have already triggered the process of self-introspection within you, and it would have got you into a state where you have the inner strength to face the challenge. And in some cases, when the challenge confronts you, especially when the force of the challenge is more high, then it requires certain practical application also. So when the challenge confronts you, suddenly these things will start striking you from within. So when that process happens, immediately be very grateful to the higher, because you should not attribute the benefits to yourself and develop an ego over it. That alone, as sadhaks, you should be very careful. So when we talk of the connection between the ego and the way the mind behaves, here we are discussing the behavior of the mind with respect to desires, and when we say desires, means the root of the desire and what are the desires aimed at, everything put together. Why is he laying so much of emphasis on the desires? See, what drives you today in life itself is nothing but the desires of your mind. So it is of utmost importance that these desires are purified, these desires are well within your control. Otherwise, you will be sitting in the car without any control. The car is just going at a very high speed and in the wrong direction, and you have absolutely no control over it. That is a very dangerous situation. If you observe in life, people who do the worst of crimes, it is because their own desires would have gone out of their control. When I say desires, I mean the mind, And people who have achieved such phenomenal things, again, it is because of the right utilization of this mental energy. See, every desire is a form of energy within you. It is a driving force. Today, the scientists are able to measure the thought frequencies and all that. That is the grosser aspect of the thought frequency at the brain level, as electrical impulses. So all that they are doing today. But of course, what we are doing in spirituality is directly going to the mind. Brain is also the physical organ through which the mind functions. But the mind is beyond the physical body. So the main component of the mind is the desires. And from the desires only arise various emotions and feelings, the various sentiments, the moods. So many branches are there. So he is going to the very root, and he says, now gain mastery over your mind by gaining mastery over your own desires. Let not the desires rule you, but you should rule the desires. It is like a power which has been given to you. If that power goes out of control, then that can cause destruction. When the same power is within your control, then you will know how to harness it, and you will be able to use the same power beneficially. So that is why this verse is such an important verse for all the sadhaks, because every principle which is given here actually is a powerful triggering factor that triggers you to go within yourself and transform yourself completely. So when we take the desires, in the center is the kamaha. Kamaha means that desire which is not under your control. Now, we are not talking of whether the desire is good or bad. Even a good desire, when it is not under your control, it will give negative results only. For example, you have a desire to help someone, let us say. Now, is it a good desire or bad desire? You would say it is a good desire. But supposing that desire to help the other person goes totally out of your control, then in the name of helping that person, what you will start doing is, you will become very pushy. You will interfere with the other person. You will not give the other person the freedom to function. And the other person will start running away from you. So any desire, one is whether it is good or bad inherently. Good or bad means constructive or destructive. But the other aspect is whether it is under your control or not. Even a good desire, even a constructive desire, when it is not under your control, that can cause destructive effects in the long run. See, many parents keep asking me this question, why is it that our children are not listening to us? After all, our intention is good only. Yes, 100%. No parent is going to think, no parent is going to think negatively about his or her own child. But when the intention, the desire is not under your control, then that can cause rift in that relationship. Because the moment it is not under your control, you will not be giving the necessary space to your child. And when you don't give the space, the necessary space to the other person, then that person will feel stifled. The person will feel as if his or her freedom has been curbed. That is when all the revolt and everything starts happening. So on one hand, it's very important to pick and choose good desires. On the other hand, it is even more important that your desires should be under your control. You should be a master of your desires. So when the desire is not under your control, it is called kamaha. That is generated by the rajasic ego, the rakshasic ahankar. So when you have the rakshasic ahankar, a lot of kamaha, the desires will be generated on their own. And what will be the motive of such a person? When I say such a person, the mind of such a person. He or she will think that I am not happy today. I can be happy only if I get that particular object. Only if these things happen can I be happy. You will start putting conditions for your happiness. This is one of the symptoms of the Rakshasic ego with respect to desires. So I want a car. Now I am not at all happy today. I will be happy only when I get a car. This is a classic example of Rakshasic ego functioning. So whenever your happiness is dependent upon various factors outside, let this happen, let that happen, let this person behave in that way, or I need to get all this, only then I'll be happy, then you will never be happy, because there is no end to these conditions. You should be careful when you're gaining the spiritual wisdom. You should not use this wisdom to start putting conditions on others. Like, there is a boy who was taking guidance from me. He is looking for a partner in life. Now, the other conditions he has understood when it was told to him that don't put too many conditions, just see, the basic thing, the basic compatibility, and that's more than enough. Thereafter, it is about learning to appreciate the other person, and it is unconditional love which will give an enriching relationship. It is not the nature of the other person, So all that he understood, but without the awareness, he started putting spiritual conditions. He was saying, I want a partner who will also appreciate the yogic approach and do the Yoga Sankirtan sadhana. Now, to which I asked him, tell me, when did you start doing your Yoga Sankirtan sadhana? At the age of 21, he said. Okay, but when did you come across this wisdom? He said, my mother used to attend these sessions and she used to tell me. It took me about 3-4 years for me to get into this, and slowly I began to understand the benefits of the sadhana. So it took quite a while for you to really get into it. Then how can you expect another person to straightaway be at that level of depth? That is an unnecessary condition which you're putting. This is what I told him. So the more conditions you start putting for your happiness, the happiness will start eluding you. You're narrowing down your own options unnecessarily. So then he asked me this question, so should I just not bother about this? I said, it's not that way. Don't go to the other extreme. As long as the other person is basically appreciative of this. See, if a person is totally negative about this and you're a very deep sadhak, then that is a point of concern. You need to think about it. But when a person has no objection to this, a person is basically appreciative of this, that is more than enough. As you settle down with your partner, when they see a lot of good qualities in you, and when they are exposed to this more and more, they will also get into it. But if you put it as a condition, my partner should be as a sadhak. That boy went to that extent of saying, where my future child, since I missed this great wisdom till the age of 21, I don't want my child to miss it right from the womb itself, like how Abhimanyu was given. I want to expose my child who is not yet born. He is not even married today. He has not found a partner, but now itself he is thinking so much. So I told him, that is an all going to one extreme. Your intention is good only, but it shouldn't become a condition in life. Remember this. Let the child be born. If you are spiritual, naturally the child will also inherit a little bit of that. Child will also have his or her own karmas. Your duty is to expose this to the child, create a conducive atmosphere. The children will automatically pick it up. But the moment you start putting conditions, then you will not get good results in life. You will start repelling people from you. Remember this. It is your point may be my intention is good. Yes, I fully agree. But it should never become a condition in life. So when it comes to happiness, when you are having kamaha, you will start putting conditions for your happiness. I will be happy if I get this. So even with this wisdom, if you start putting conditions, then you are actually moving away from the spirit of wisdom. Why is it that when you go to your master, when you associate yourself with your guru, why is it that you don't feel the pressure? Because he never imposes anything on the students. A true guru has no expectations from the students. He goes on exposing them to the best. But never does he unsettle the minds of the students. He doesn't put a condition, but he strongly shows the way by living these principles. The moment there is a condition, then you will lose the shanti, peace of mind. So when you are having a rajasic ego, you will start putting a lot of conditions in life. So whether the conditions are based on materiality or whether the conditions are based on spirituality, it does not matter. Where there are conditions for your happiness, you will not be happy. Even if you are happy, it is only as long as those conditions are maintained. None of those things are within your control. I will be happy if the weather is good. If the temperature rises beyond a certain level, now I will not be happy. The temperature goes down beyond a certain level, I will not be happy. The moment you start putting conditions like this, you will never be happy. I will be happy only when I get X amount of money. I will be happy only when my son or daughter gets married. I will be happy only if my boss behaves in a particular way. Let it be any condition. Your condition may, as I told you, your condition may be a good condition also. In the sense, a genuinely good intention you may have. But this is the law of life. Whenever you put conditions for your happiness, you will not be happy. You will not be peaceful. So that is why a rajasic person may sometimes have good intentions, but he or she cannot sleep peacefully. There will be so much of turmoil which he will go through. See, last couple of weeks we were seeing we saw the type of desires and then the desires and their relationship to happiness. Now I'm giving you some more dimensions of how the ego influences the desires with respect to happiness. You are in a better position to absorb this now. So when the kamaha goes completely out of control, it becomes prihaha, craving. Then what happens is your conditions start deepening. No, see, you're not satisfied with merely putting conditions. Okay, if I get this, I will be happy. Your conditions will become absurd, unrealistic. You will start saying, unless and until my neighbor does not have this, I will not be happy. you will start putting conditions on things which are completely out of your control, 100% out of your control. That is when you're moving towards the path of destruction. When you have a rajasic ego, you do put conditions. Partially they will be realistic, partially they will be unrealistic. But when you have tamasic ego, the asuric ahankar, then that will start producing spriha, that is intense craving, and that craving will make your mind put various unrealistic, illogical conditions for happiness. I will be happy only if the government behaves in a particular way. Some people say that. Is that within your control right now? The various news, the negative news which you gather, which are negative news, negative incidents which are happening throughout the world, and then you get agitated about it. I will be happy only if the whole world changes. If your happiness is dependent on unrealistic things, then you will never ever be happy. So not only will your expectations become unrealistic, your expectations themselves will become very negative and destructive if you're not careful. That is, if you keep encouraging the asuric ego within you. So a rajasic person says, if I get a car, I'll be happy. An asuric person will say, if I get a car, that is not enough, but my neighbor's car has to break. My neighbor has to lose his car, then I will feel happy. If I get name and fame, I'm not happy. I should get name and fame, and my so-called competitor, because all competition is in your mind only, but my competitor should lose his name and fame. He should be defamed. Then I'll be happy. So if you're not careful, your expectations in life can become very, very destructive. So when your expectations become destructive, it means actually you are destroying the spirituality from within. You are destroying your own peace of mind. So when it comes to a sattvic person, the daivika ahankar, how does that person function? His desires now become ichha. First thing that happens to a sattvic person is his desires come under his control. Now, what is this ichha with respect to happiness? A sattvic person understands that there are two types of happiness. One is temporary happiness and the other is permanent happiness. So whenever he chooses a desire, I'm carefully using the word chooses. For a person who is rajasic and tamasic or tamasic, there is no choice. The desire comes on its own. For a sattvic person, desire becomes a choice. That is called Ichha Shakti. And when you master this Ichha Shakti, you become a Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna is a master of Ichha Shakti also. It is beyond all these finite states. So, when a sattvic person generates a desire willfully for a particular purpose, it is with a clear understanding that there are two kinds of happiness. One is temporary happiness and the other is permanent happiness. Temporary happiness is whatever you get from the material world. It could be when you get wealth or sense enjoyments or knowledge, the worldly knowledge, the worldly emotions, relationships, the name, fame, all these can give you a temporary sense of happiness. But the permanent infinite happiness is there right within you. When you become a Sthita Prajna, when you merge with the infinite, you gain that highest happiness. So a sattvic person, first of all, understands that difference. So when he generates a desire, he does not have the expectation that this, when I fulfill this desire, this will give me permanent happiness. This is number one. He clearly understands that the permanent happiness comes only through sadhana and purification. When I get connected with the infinite, I will become permanently happy. I will become happy in the infinite sense. So he understands that this object can give temporary happiness. Therefore, the moment you understand that whatever desire you have, that can only give you temporary happiness, now automatically you will not depend on that object for your happiness. So a sattvic person will start thinking on these lines. Why should I depend on anything outside in order to be happy? Let me start becoming happy right now itself, from within. So the ichcha or desire which he generates will be for functional reasons. When the desire is fulfilled, he will enjoy that temporary happiness also. It's not that he will shy away from enjoyment, but he will not be dependent on that object for his happiness. If he generates an ichcha for a car, let us say I want a car or I want a house, for various functional reasons. Now he will generate the desire, he will put in all the efforts to acquire a car or a house, but he will not say, till I get that, I will not be happy. Right now itself, he will do the sadhana and he will find out various ways and means by which he can keep on generating that inner happiness from within. And he will also go about fulfilling with the various ichchas, the various desires which he has. And when the object of the desire comes to him, supposing he gets the car or the house, he will enjoy that. He is not against that. But he will not get caught up with that. This is called detached enjoyment. A yogi is one who enjoys everything in life with this detachment. A bhogi is one who tries to enjoy everything in life, but there is no detachment. He is completely caught up there. I am again using the word who tries to enjoy, because a bhogi can actually never enjoy, because his mind will be very highly stressed. So, in order to convert your kamaha to ichcha, what do you need to do? You need to start understanding the phenomenon of happiness. There are two kinds of happiness there are two kinds of happiness in life. One is temporary happiness, which comes through the fulfillment of your desires, and the other is permanent happiness, which comes by getting connected with the infinite. And the moment you understand the difference, your kamaha will start becoming ichcha, because you will not want to depend on any external factor for your happiness. You will understand that process of wisdom, the self introspection, the swadhyaya will start getting triggered within you. So when he says vihaya kaman, that is abandoning the desires, it is by getting rooted in this aspect of the wisdom of happiness that you will be able to get that detachment. So he is not saying you should abandon ichcha. He is saying you should abandon kamaha. The problem is, as far as the English language is concerned, Everything is desires only. Sprihaha means desire, kamaha means desire, ichha means desire. So it becomes very difficult. That is why we have carefully coined terminologies. Craving, sprihaha is craving, kamaha is uncontrolled desire, and ichha is willful desire, which can be converted into a goal. So it is an amazing sadhana principle when he gives you. He says, Vihaya Kaman. So how do you do that? When he says, abandon the desires, what he means is, abandon the thought that this desire, the object of the desire will give me happiness, will give me permanent happiness. When you abandon that thought and when you understand this principle of happiness, as that wisdom starts getting triggered from within you, automatically you will be able to convert your kamaha into ichha. As long as you think that your internal happiness is lying there outside, your desire will not be under your control. It is not possible to awaken the ichha shakti from within. So this is how the ahankar, the desire and happiness, all these three are related to each other within you. This whole process is happening within you. Remember, I am not talking about your neighbor. When your neighbor listens, it is for him or her. But as far as you are concerned, it is what is happening within you. So, Vihaya Kaman, that person who having abandoned, Sarvan means all the Kaman, all the desires, means all his desires are under his control now. He has abandoned the dependence on any object outside him for happiness with respect to all the desires, sarvan kama. So there is a catch there. When he says abandon desires, it is not literally the desires which he is asking you to abandon, but he is asking you to abandon the dependence which you are having today on your own desires. Dependence for being dependent on the various objects for your happiness. So these masters are never against contacting the world. They are never against enjoying the world. They are only saying, don't become dependent on the world for your happiness. Then you will never ever be happy. So this is the next level of homework which you can do, the Swadhyaya. If you want to know how much developed are you spiritually, just ask yourself, what all am I dependent on for my happiness? The more things I am dependent on for my happiness, the less spiritually evolved am I. Again, it is not about your external possessions. You may possess any amount of wealth you want. You may lead a royal life also. All these things do not matter. We are talking about the internal dependence which you have for your happiness. Sometimes quantitatively you may have less desires, but you may just have one desire which may be an intense craving. I am just explaining this case also because sometimes people come and tell me, I have very few desires. Why is that? But when I see them, when I see what is happening within them. So many expectations. How is that? Even one or two desires, when the intensity is very high, then that can give rise to many expectations and conditions within you. So this is a small homework this week. It's a further development of what has been given to you in the previous weeks. Am I happy today? You see, you can't give a straightforward yes-no answer, because in certain areas you will be happy, in certain areas you will not be happy. So, am I happy today in this particular area? Again, in that area, what is my percentage of happiness? How happy can I say am I with respect to my relationship with my family, or with respect to my career, with respect to wealth? Now, supposing I am only, let us say, 10% happy, then that's the answer which you get, just for argument's sake. Then apply this wisdom and see what are the conditions which I am putting for my happiness in this area. Wherever you find your conditions are less, in those areas you will find you will be more happy. Your capacity to enjoy the world also in that area will be more. See, if you are putting too many conditions with respect to, let us say, your own child, you will not enjoy your child. Doesn't this happen? The mother is highly stressed about her child, but when a visitor comes, the visitor plays with the child and enjoys the child more. Why? Because since there is no relationship, there is a kind of a detachment. Even though that is not the highest detachment, relatively that is there. So you will not enjoy the relationship itself when you don't have that detachment, when you're putting too many conditions. So you observe this in your life, then this wisdom will get intensified. Where all am I happy? Relatively more happy. You will and see the conditions which you're putting, they will definitely be less. Where all am I stressed or unhappy? And if you observe, you will be putting a lot of conditions as far as your happiness is concerned. I want you to do the small homework which will help in intensifying the wisdom which is being provided. See, so many things have been given to you which will trigger this process. Now, when you do the homework a little bit, when you start applying this in your life, so many things will get triggered from within. See, remember, one of the things in the yogic approach, even though week after week so much is being given, everything can never be given. This is something like poetry. In poetry, not everything will be expressed, but only triggering factors will be there. So when you go on absorbing the energy behind what that poet is trying to give, that will go on triggering the various emotions which it is supposed to trigger. That is how you can convey. See, the more subtle these principles are, it's very difficult to convey. That is why this principle of triggering is used by these masters. So if merely understanding these three aspects, that is the ego, the desires and happiness, if that can give you this much amount of inspiration and happiness which you're experiencing right now, imagine this is only a little bit which has been given to you. The rest will be triggered from within. When that process happens, how much of happiness will it give you? So when the triggering starts happening, the true yogic approach is being implemented, we can say. So that is why I am giving you various sadhana tips and the homework and all that, so that this wisdom goes on getting intensified within you. Similarly, if you observe somebody in life who is not happy, immediately go back to these principles. Why is that person not happy? See, don't get into a judgmental mode now and start criticizing, or don't go and give a lecture. That should not be done. Instead, try to absorb this wisdom from that experience. See, one is to gain the basics from the Bhagavad Gita, from these Sunday sessions. But then you have to apply it in different areas of life and intensify that wisdom. So observe, why is this person not happy? How is his mind functioning? And invariably you will find that he will be riddled with asuric or rakshasic ego, too much of desires, too many desires, too many conditions, and as a result of which that person will be very, very stressed and agitated today. So the yogic approach is not restricted to merely these sessions here, but you should extend it to your whole life. Your entire life is like a book. Every experience which you go through is like a page in that book. Every Sunday when you are attending these sessions, we are not studying merely the Bhagavad Gita. Actually, through the yogic approach, what is being taught to you, or what is being given to you, is that capacity to study the book of your life. The day you get the capacity to study the book of your life and learn from that, you will start exhausting all your karmas. Every karma is created with an idea of this of learning. The soul, the individual soul, the jivatma, picks up various karmas based on the experiences where it has to learn a lesson. Whenever you go through any suffering in life, that experience is trying to teach you something. The moment your soul learns that lesson, the suffering will go away. The karma will get dissolved. Karma is not related only to suffering. Whenever you go through even a positive experience, that is trying to teach you something. Your entire life is trying to teach you something. These Sunday discourses are only a starting point. Whatever principles are given here are only seeds. They have to grow and become trees when you're facing your life. When you experience your life without this wisdom, chances are you will not learn the lessons of life. You will just keep living your life with various complaints. You will go through the ups and downs, create more karmas, and then you will die, you will come back, you will take another birth and come. This process is endless. That is why they called it the samsaric cycle. When you gain this wisdom using the yogic approach, and as you're gaining the wisdom, when you experience life, now you will find that your whole life becomes a book. Every experience becomes a Sunday session on yogic approach. When when you're taking care of your son who is growing, when the baby turns over and tries to crawl and then sits and walks, at every step the baby struggles, so much, but it never leaves the effort. When you see that, you can learn, you can intensify this yogic wisdom. How much of effort the child is putting in order to master just these basic skills. Like this, from every experience you can go on learning. This is how Bhagavan Dattatreya became one of the greatest saints. Mahayogi. Very difficult to describe that state. Even Mahayogi falls short. He is the yogi of all yogis. He is the head of all the siddhas. Bhagavan Dattatreya. And what was the secret to his development? He learnt from every experience of life. So you will have one guru who is directly teaching you, who is giving you the various factors which will trigger the inner wisdom from within. But as you begin to gain this wisdom, the direct guidance may be from one guru, but you will find that every experience will also start teaching you. That means the Guru Shakti is expanding into your entire life. That is what technically they call as Upagurus. Upagurus means subsidiary gurus. Subsidiary means the second gurus who help, Main guru is there. Then you have various Upagurus. Upagurus are references to the various experiences of your life. They are talking of how the Guru Shakti functions. So the Guru Shakti will directly manifest as your Guru and he may teach you various things. The Guru Shakti will also manifest as various experiences in your life, and those experiences will be teaching you. And what will it be teaching you? It will be teaching you how to become happy, because infinite happiness is your ultimate goal. Everything which you're doing is directed towards peace and happiness only. So all the experiences which you are gaining are trying to teach you how to become more happy in life. When a sorrowful incident happens, that incident is teaching you what can give you sorrow. When a pleasurable incident comes into your life, that incident teaches you what can give you happiness, but temporary happiness. Beyond the temporary sorrow and the temporary happiness lies the permanent happiness. So life itself is trying to mold you. Every experience is trying to mold you. Your master is also only trying to mold you towards that infinite happiness. And what prevents you from learning is your ahankar, ego. So when you learn to surrender to your guru, you are actually not learning to surrender to an individual. When you absorb that quality of surrender, you will start surrendering to life itself. In every experience, you will become so humble and you will go on learning. When you get married, that experience will teach you something. When you give birth to a child, when you get a child in your life, that experience will teach you something. When you're a parent, when you go, see, learning is not restricted only to a school, formal education and all that. In spirituality, remember, learning is not restricted to these Sunday lectures. These Sunday lectures form the foundation of learning. But the intensification of your learning will happen in your life. And when that happens, when each and every experience starts teaching you something, go on learning all those lessons. And when you keep learning from each and every experience, your asuric ego will get transformed into rakshasic ego. And your rakshasic ego will get transformed into sattvic ego. You will start putting in a lot of effort in terms of sadhana, personal sadhana. You will become more focused. You will intensify your efforts. And your sattvic ego will also start melting away, and you will become a sthita prajna, an enlightened person. This is the very process of awakening. If you miss it in this birth, another chance will be given to you in the next birth. Again, this whole process. And this process is going to go on till you learn all the lessons in life, you purify yourself, and you become a sthita prajna. This is the journey of the Jivatma, the journey of the soul. Okay, we'll stop with that today. I've given you very, very deep principles. As I told you, spend some time reflecting on these principles after the session is over. These are so deep. Some people say, why waste time on all this wisdom and all that? Let me just get into Karma Yoga. It is not like that. Everything has its place. Karma Yoga also has its place. Jnana Yoga also has its place. Bhakti Yoga also has its place. You cannot neglect any aspect. But remember, whether you want to do karma or whether you want to purify your emotions or whether you want to gain clarity of thinking, whether you want to succeed in life, wealth, anything which you want to get, or whether you want to reach the highest, the foundation is this wisdom. Without this foundation, you will slip somewhere or other. Okay, so think about this. I will take up a question now before we get into the meditation. This question has been asked by Ashish Garg. Hari Om Gurudev, a very good morning to you. I am writing this note to you immediately after completing of morning sadhana. I am doing Prana Tattva level 1 meditation this week. Since the completion of Prana Tattva course, I have already done this meditation few times, but somehow I always felt the 4-step breathing is not correct. When you used to say no jerks, natural breathing, move, breath, I'm not getting into the details of it because that is meant for those who did the course. So he says, whenever I tried to do that, the mind was busy with too many things and it was never smooth. So today I had a very different experience. So he has explained the experience. So I'm not getting into the personal experience because what will happen, it is something very technical, and I don't want other sadhaks to start thinking, oh, I am not getting that experience. So each one's experience will be unique. No two experiences will be the same. So no point in reading the details of the experience. But basically, the question which he has asked is, you have given certain clear steps of what to do in that material, but he has got some other experience. When he tried to follow that, he has got some other experience. So not sure if my mind is playing some game to come to get my own feeling or experience, or is it that I have not followed your advice properly? So kindly guide. This is what he has asked. Now this question has been asked by others also. Even another sadhak has put this question in different ways in the YouTube section, where he says, when I try to follow the instructions given in the meditation, sometimes I get some other experience and I'm not following what you're saying. Now I'll clear all those doubts. Even other sadhaks may be facing similar problems. First thing is, this is not an issue, this is not a problem at all. See, meditation is the process which is happening internally. When the instructions are being given by the master, those instructions are need not necessarily be followed exactly to the letter during the meditation. See, when you start the meditation, when you sit, the basic instructions are given, like sit comfortably, place your palms on your thighs. Now, those things you will follow. Then close your eyes, do the deep breathing. Now, once that part of it comes, after that, whatever instructions are being given are meant to trigger that unique experience of meditation which you will get in your sadhana. They are not mere words, but they are triggering factors, and each one's experience is going to be unique. For example, supposing the master says do deep breathing. Now, let us say 3 students are there. All 3 of them start doing the deep breathing. Now, one student may start feeling some vibrations somewhere, some kind of electricity flow. This is only an example I am giving. Now, don't look for vibration. I am only saying each one is made differently. Another student, the moment he starts doing deep breathing, he may not feel any vibrations, but the mind may calm down. A third person, the third student, may not experience the vibrations or the calming of mind, but suddenly some negative energy, some traumatic incident which he has stored in the deeper layers of the mind may come out. He may feel like crying. Tears may roll down from his eyes. That experience may get released. Another student may experience some kind of energy flow in the spine. So for each one, different experiences will come. But the instruction was only one: do deep breathing. So now what Ashishji you are asking, and what is a question of many sadhaks is, you have told me to breathe deeply, but I have started experiencing other things. The very idea of giving those instructions was to make you get certain internal experiences which is meant for you. So that is not against these instructions. These instructions are meant to trigger those experiences within you. So no need to get confused, no need to feel guilty that, oh, I have not followed the master's advice and all that. Before you get into that process, the instructions need to be followed implicitly. But once you start doing the deep breathing, thereafter go with the energy flow. Sometimes the master may say, now focus on let us say focus on a particular energy center within you, and the chanting is being done. Now you may try to focus there, but that may trigger certain very deep experiences within you. It may try to trigger some purification from within. So many things may happen. What do you need to do? Just do the deep breathing and be a witness to these things. Don't give these experiences too much of importance also, because they are not the highest experiences. The ultimate experience of self-realization is something totally different from all this. But these experiences, sometimes they may be so wonderful, they may be divine. You just feel grateful about that and leave it at that. So remember this, during the meditation, the entire meditation sadhana, whatever instructions are given, the Yoga Sankirtan, very many triggering factors are there in the form of sound energy, music. In the Prana Tattva meditation material, in the Kaya Tattva meditation material, the verbal instructions are being given externally, but actually they are all again triggering factors. Okay, so by answering Ashish ji's question, I have also answered the many people who have been asking me similar questions, and also many others who are having these kinds of doubts, but they have not yet asked. So the answer to all these questions is in one line: go with the energy flow. If you lose your awareness completely, then you get back your awareness. That is fine. But otherwise, just surrender to the higher Shakti, surrender to the Guru Shakti. If you're getting some experience, that has been triggered by the higher energy only. You know, another lady, she had written her experience when she was doing the Kaya Tattva, the 22-day program, Ancient Secrets of Health. She said on one particular day, when the empowerment was being given, suddenly there was a power failure, as a result of which the video got cut. But she didn't realize it at that time. Halfway through the empowerment, the video got cut. But she was in such a deep state. She went on receiving the energy, the empowerment. And after about half an hour, 40 minutes, then the instructions came within her mind to gently open the eyes. And she wriggled her fingers and came out of the meditation. Only then she realized that there was a power cut. So she had asked this clarification, should I listen to that again? So I had sent her instruction, no, because you did receive the empowerment. See, the empowerment, the energy is not dependent on audio, video and all these things. Even by connecting through at the thought level, the empowerment can be given. And a master always empowers at the subtle level. These gross expressions are meant more to satisfy your mind. And she did agree, because she could see the effect of that empowerment so powerfully that day, you know. So these are all very subtle processes. So if you use your logical mind to try and analyze and come to a conclusion this way, that way, invariably you will make a mistake. So once you get into meditation, you know, as long as your bhavana is very pure, ensure that your bhavana is pure. You're sitting in a very humble way. You surrender to the higher Shakti. You surrender to the Guru Shakti. Thereafter, don't worry about the formalities, these rules and regulations. The higher Shakti will take care of that. The Guru Shakti will take care of all that. But there's another thing also. This process of surrender itself is something which you need to work on and master as a sadhak. Any sadhak has to. And as you evolve spiritually, your capacity to surrender will also increase. It's not that it will happen 100% at one go. Arjuna himself started the surrender process in this second chapter, but then that surrender goes on increasing as Krishna kept giving as Krishna keeps giving him the wisdom. That's what we'll be seeing. Very interesting. So the thumb rule is, don't analyze your experiences. Just be a witness to them. And any experience which you get is triggered by the higher Shakti, the Guru Shakti, as long as your bhavana is pure. If your bhavana is impure, if you're not willing to surrender, if you're not humble, then your ego can spin certain experiences. So just do this checking only. Just check. Is my bhavana one of surrender? Am I humble while doing the sadhana? Yes means thereafter there is nothing to worry. The protection will be given by the higher Shakti and the Guru Shakti. Okay? So is this clear? If there is any doubt regarding this, you come back after reflecting on the points which have been given to you, because whatever experience you have described, Ashishji, is a preparation for you for the next higher level of empowerment which we'll be having this year. So kindly don't share your experience with others. This is a message for other sadhaks also, because as I told you, each one's experience is unique. You may be coming as a husband and wife here, but the wife has her own karmas, the husband has her own karmas. So the Guru Shakti will work in different ways depending on what that particular individual requires. So that is why don't unnecessarily share your experiences with each other, and then the mind will start comparing. Oh, you felt a vibration. No, I didn't feel the vibration. I felt this. This is an unnecessary thing. Okay, by the end of it, are you feeling very light? Ashishji, you mentioned that you're feeling light. That there ends the matter. It means one round of karma has got burnt. That's why you're feeling light. You know? Okay. So now we'll do the meditation. Relax completely. Gently close your eyes. Breathe deeply. With every breath, I am becoming more and more divine.
With every breath, I am going deeper and deeper into myself. I am not this body. I am not this mind. I am not this intellect. I am one with that supreme, infinite self. From this moment onwards, I choose to do my sadhana consistently. And convert all my kamaha, uncontrolled desires, to ichcha, willful desires. I choose to adopt the sattvic approach towards life with the ultimate aim of becoming a sthita prajna, an enlightened person. I choose to learn from
every experience in life and go on purifying myself. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So we've had a very deep session today. Deep principles. Everything which has been given to you with respect to nirahankaraha, nirmamaha, nisprihaha, vihaya kaman, they are all powerful triggering factors. If you are a dedicated sadhak, you will find the value of these principles not merely while listening here, it's not restricted to that, but when you go out and experience life, you will find a tremendous change in your approach, how you perceive things, how you react to things, and even if you react negatively, how you do your sadhana and come back to the balanced position. You will find this wisdom will influence every aspect of your life, your thoughts, your emotions, your habits, behavior, everything will start changing. So reflect on these principles, absorb them into your personality. They have the power to change you completely. Okay, so we'll continue the rest in the next session. Thank you very much. Hari Om.